Hello students, welcome to our channel Learning Notebook. In today's video, we are going to do chapter of force, work and energy. We are going to discuss each and every concept related to these three topics. So make sure you watch the entire video. But before starting with this chapter, let me tell you that we have made videos on every chapter of Class 5 Environmental Studies. You can find all of them on our channel Learning Notebook. Also, you can see a list of all such videos on our website. The link to our website is below in the description box. So let's see what all topics we are going to cover today in this video. First, we will understand what is force. Then, we will talk about effects of force, types of forces. After that, we will learn what is work and what is energy. Then, we will learn about energy resources, which are renewable and non-renewable. And in the end, we will understand different types of energy. So let's start and first learn what is force. To move anything, we either pull or push. So this push or pull on an object is called force. For example, look at this picture. This monkey is pulling the cow. And what is pull? A pull is when we move the thing closer to us. So this monkey is pulling the cow, that is, he is moving the cow closer to him. Then look at this second monkey. It is pushing the cow. A push is when we move the thing away from us. So this monkey is pushing the cow or moving the cow away from him. So this is push and pull. And this push or pull on an object is called force. Let's see some more examples of force. Here, a horse is pulling a tonga. So this is an example of force. Next example is, this man is pushing a car. That means he is moving the car away from him. So this is another example of force. Next example is, here someone is pushing a button, or we can say he is moving the button away from him. So these were the examples of force. Now, does this mean that force always moves the object? Let's find out. The answer is, a force does not always move the object. For example, when we apply force on the wall or maybe on any other heavy object, it does not move. So it means a force does not always move the object. Now let's understand effects of force. Students, force affects the objects in many ways. First is, a force can stop the ball with the force of your leg. Second effect of force is, that it can move a stationary object. Like here, if this boy is kicking the ball, it starts moving due to effect of force. Next effect of force is a force can change the direction of a moving object. For example, a moving car or a bus changes its direction when we apply force on the steering wheel. And last effect of force is that it can change the shape of the object. Like when we make chapatis, the dough changes its shape on pressing. Or another example is of pottery making. The potter, with the force of his hands, makes utensils out of the clay. Also, when you press the balloon, which is full of air, it also changes its shape. So, all this is happening due to effect of force. So, students, we learned various effects of force. Let's summarize them. A force can move and stop the object. It can change the direction as well as shape of the object. Now let's learn about types of forces. Students, there are various types of forces. Magnetic force, electrostatic force, gravitational force, buoyant force, and frictional force. Let's understand each of them one by one. Before moving further, let me tell you that we have made videos on every chapter of Class 3, Class 4 and Class 5 Science. We also have interesting quizzes and worksheets on each chapter. So I would recommend you to check out our channel Learning Notebook. Let's start with first type of force, magnetic force. The force applied by a magnet on an object is called magnetic force. For example, look here. When you bring magnet near these iron nut and bolts, the magnet attracts them. This is because magnet has a force called magnetic force. Next type of force is electrostatic force. Students, you must have noticed when you comb your hair and bring the comb near tiny bits of paper, the paper gets attracted towards the comb. As you can see here, this is because on rubbing, the comb gets charged and it attracts paper bits. This type of force is called electrostatic force. So by definition, when things are rubbed with each other, they become charged and a force is produced. This force is called electrostatic force. Now third type of force is gravitational force. Another thing you must have noticed that whenever you throw anything up in the air, it always comes down. For example, when we throw a ball up, it comes down. Or if the fruit ripes, it falls down from the tree. This is due to the force which Earth exerts on every object. So this type of force is called gravitational force. So by definition, our Earth exerts force on every object and attracts the objects towards its center. This force is called gravitational force. If you still not have subscribed to our channel Learning Notebook, then do subscribe it and make sure to press the bell icon. Let's move to next type of force, buoyant force. To understand this, take a bucket full of water and try to push a ball into it. You will feel an upward push. This upward push resists the ball from going down. And students, as soon as you release the ball, it will come up on the surface of the water. So it means there is some upward force on the ball. And this upward force is called buoyant force. So the upward force acting on the object in the water is called buoyant force. Now the last type of force is frictional force. When you push a book on the floor, it moves and then it gradually slows down and finally stops. In the same way, when we paddle a cycle, it moves, and when we stop pedaling, it gradually stops. Students, why do you think they stop? This is because there is a force between object and the floor, and this force slows down the object. This force is called frictional force. So students, the force that slows down the movement of objects on a surface is called the frictional force. So these were the 5 types of forces. We learnt about magnetic force, electrostatic force, gravitational force, buoyant force and frictional force. Now let's learn about advantages and disadvantages of friction. First advantage of friction is that friction helps us to walk. Friction between our shoes and the floor stops us from slipping. Students, you must have noticed that we cannot easily walk on a wet floor. This is because there is less friction between our shoes and floor, due to which we sometimes fall as well. So friction helps us to walk. Second advantage of friction is that friction between road and tires of vehicle stops it from skidding. Students, as you can see in this picture, we should drive slowly when it rains or snows. Otherwise, the vehicle can skid. Now, next advantage of friction is that it helps in writing with pen, pencil or chalk. Students, you are able to write with your pen because of friction only. You cannot write easily on oily paper because there is very less friction between your pen and oily paper. Another advantage is that friction helps in erasing something off using eraser or cloth. Next, friction helps in lighting a matchstick, as you can see here. And lastly, friction helps us to clean our teeth using a brush. So these were the advantages of friction. Now we are going to discuss about disadvantages of friction. The first disadvantage of friction is that it produces heat, which damages the machine. And this is the reason we have to use oil in sewing machines and cycles. Now students, due to the friction between surface and tires of vehicles, the friction damages the tires of vehicles. And in a similar manner, friction also damages soles of our shoes as we use them. So these are the disadvantages of friction. We also have a separate video on complete chapter of solids, liquids and gases for class 5. I am sure all your doubts related to this chapter would be resolved after watching this comprehensive video. You will find its link here on the top and below in the description box. Now let's move to our next topic, work. Students, look at these pictures. Here, this girl is reading a book and the boy is pushing the car. Here, according to science, the boy is doing the work, but the girl is not doing any kind of work. Can you tell me why? This is because in science, work is said to be done only when the applied force changes the position of the object in the direction of applied force. So in case of girl reading the book, there is no change in the position of the object, but boy is applying force to move the car and therefore the position of the car is changing. Therefore, here boy is said to be doing the work. Another example is when you move a table. It moves in the direction of the applied force. So this means work is being done here. We are pushing the table and it is being moved in the direction where we are applying the force. So here work is done. Students, when we push a wall with all our mighty force, then also the position of the wall does not change. So we will say no work is done here in this case. So now I'm sure you have understood what do we mean by work in science. Now let's understand our next topic, energy. The ability to do work is called energy. And energy is required to do simplest of tasks. We need energy to perform all the activities like playing, reading, sleeping, etc. Students, one more important thing about energy is that it is never created or destroyed. It is only changed from one state to another. We will understand this concept in a while. Now our next topic is resources of energy. Resources of energy are of two types, non-renewable and renewable. Let's understand them one by one. Non-renewable energy resources cannot be replaced. It means once such resources are used up, they will not be restored, or at least not for millions of years. So students, it means when such resources are used up, they will not be renewed because they are present in limited quantity. Let's see the examples. Oil, natural gas, coal and nuclear energy. All these are examples of non-renewable energy resources. Now what are renewable energy resources? Such resources do not run out and are easily replaced naturally. So it means such energy resources can be renewed. For example, solar energy, wind energy, hydro energy, bioenergy and geothermal energy. These resources are easily replaced naturally. Now let's understand types of energy. We are going to learn different types of energy. Heat energy, light energy, kinetic energy, potential energy, mechanical energy, geothermal energy, electrical energy, wind energy, solar energy, hydro energy, bioenergy and sound energy. Let's understand them one by one. So first type of energy is heat energy. Energy that we get from heat is called heat energy. For example, heat energy is produced when we burn coal, kerosene and LPG. And what is LPG? It is the liquefied petroleum gas. Like here, on burning of coal, heat energy is being released. Next type of energy is light energy. Energy that we get from light is called light energy. And this energy helps us to see things around us. For example, light energy is produced by candle, bulb, LED tube lights, etc. Look at this burning candle. It is releasing light energy. Let's see the next type of energy, kinetic energy. Energy of object due to its motion is called kinetic energy. So students, any object which is moving has some kind of energy which is called kinetic energy. Let's see some examples. Moving bus, moving cycle or a running boy, all these have kinetic energy. Next type of energy is potential energy. Energy of object due to its position is called potential energy. For example, water stored in a tank on the roof has potential energy as it is stored at a height. So this is an example of potential energy. Now look at this girl. She is holding the ball at a height. So the ball has potential energy. Now when she drops this ball, the potential energy of the ball gets converted into kinetic energy because the ball is moving and falling downwards. So students, do you remember when we learned the definition of energy? I told you that energy is neither created or destroyed. It is only changed from one state to another. So here is the example of potential energy being transformed into kinetic energy. Let's move to next type of energy, mechanical energy. And what is that? Mechanical energy is the sum of potential energy as well as kinetic energy. So we have just understood about potential and kinetic energy, and mechanical energy is the sum of both these energy. Let's understand this example. Water stored in a dam has potential energy because water is stored in a dam at a certain height, at a certain position, and it changes into kinetic energy when the water falls down. So when the water is falling down from a height, it is moving. So the potential energy as well as the kinetic energy together make the mechanical energy. Next type of energy is electrical energy. Energy that we get from electric current is called electrical energy. And electrical energy is used for to run electrical appliances like television, washing machine, etc. An important point to note here is that electrical energy is generated at power stations, as you can see here, and then it is supplied to our homes to run various electrical appliances. Next is wind energy. Energy which we get from wind, that is moving air, is called wind energy. and it is used to generate electricity using windmills. Students, let me show you what are windmills. These are the windmills which help to generate wind energy. Next one is solar energy, and this is the energy which we get from sun. And solar energy is used in solar calculators and solar watches. These days, solar energy is also used in solar cookers to cook food and solar heaters to heat water. Let's move to next type of energy, hydro energy. Students, do you know what is meant by hydro? Yes, it means water. So energy that we get from flowing water is called hydro energy. And this type of energy is used in generating electricity in hydroelectrical power plants. Now next is bioenergy. Bioenergy is derived from organic material, biomass. Students, biomass can be anything. It can be from wood to agriculture and food waste and even sewage. Now, bioenergy, it can be used to produce renewable electricity, heat or transportation fuel. So this was another type of energy. Next one is geothermal energy. This type of energy is generated from energy which is stored in earth. And students, this type of energy is mainly used in big industries to heat buildings, to raise plants in greenhouses, to dry out crops, to heat water and for other industrial purposes. And the last type of energy is sound energy. Energy that we get when the object starts vibrating. That type of energy is called sound energy. And its example is strings of guitar which vibrate to produce sound. So students, these were the different types of energy which we just learned. Now I am sure you have understood the meaning and concepts related to force, work as well as energy. Do watch my other videos and share my channel and my videos with your friends and family. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video. Bye-bye.